we go down, that top leg gets elevated. Is Cam's knee bent or straight? Bent. So what am I hitting? Cradle. What's our lock on the cradle? Finger lock. If he turns belly down, I'm going to drive into my turn. Any questions? Which direction do I drive on my turn? Up to his head. Always to his head. Always to his head. 2 reps. Partner, bend your knee one time, straighten your leg the other time. Tackle cradle, tackle turk. Any questions? Nope. You can make it any leg attack. Make it really quick setup, guys. Get your hands on him, set him up and go, because we're going to come back and really fight hard for that takedown in just a second. So this one's really quick sets. It can be outside the tie, any takedown you want. Read that top leg. If it bends, we're hitting what? If it stays straight, what are we hitting? Which direction do we drive on that turk? Up to his head. Go! Inside position's different for different people. Some guys are more blocky and a little more distance. Some guys are in really tight. Some guys are wrestling Steiner. Some guys are in on their hooks. All he's going to try and do is keep me out of inside position. This is my inside position where I want to wrestle from with head position. So Jay's going to try and work me out of there. I got to work back in, constantly fighting inside. When I get to my home position, I'm pulling the trigger on my shot. This guy, I want him to work as hard as he can to keep me out of the tie-up. Once he gets his tie, back off the intensity a little bit, let him pull the trigger all the way to your finish. Still reading that top legs. Everybody got the drill?
Yes, sir.
Defensive guy, fight him out of inside position. You got to go get it. You got to go get your tie. He's not going to give it to you. Go! Once you get good at your quad pie, it's pretty easy to get to your feet, isn't it? We got to do the work when we're up here. So everybody stand up. We got to fix our position a little bit. We know to get our escape, we've got to eventually get our hips away from it. But when I'm up on my feet, I want my weight over my toes. My elbows always pinch, and my hands are blocking. This is the position I'm going to be in. So he can't really drive me forward, he can't suck me back, and most importantly, he can't get an angle. So here's our first drill we're going to do. He's not really trying to return yet. I'm just weight over my toes, elbows are pinching his elbows. He's going to try and step around. As he steps around, I square up with him. He goes to the other side, I square up with him. I'm not giving him an angle. He circles, I circle. My feet have to move faster than his. Any questions? I want you to get after it here. It's going to be a 1-minute drill. Go! I'll switch you after 30. Good mat return. Don't step on my foot, please. Thank you. Oh, that scared me to death. He's trying to get his leg in front to create an angle on this mat return. Now I have to use my hands more. So I'm in my set position. He's trying to step around. I block and I'm circling. I'm blocking right at his knee. Not to give him that angle. He goes to the other side. I'm blocking. Still not giving him an angle, but now I'm using my hands. Same 1-minute drill. Go! Back to the mat. Come here, Jay. So now he's set position. You want to get set? What I'm trying to do is jerk him back to the mat. I'm dropping to my knee and trying to suck him back into me. Guys, we want him to drive into us here. So where do I want my weight leaning when I'm in this position? Forward, over our toes. So when Jay's in that set position, if he's got his weight over his toes and I start jerking him back, he just backs up into me. He's just able to pull back into me. And I'm really jerking him hard here, trying to pull him back down to the mat. We're holding that base position. Any questions?
Are we switching at our own this time?
No, same 1-minute drill. Go! Fight the lift. So again, this guy, this is kind of when he gets frustrated. All he's trying to do is do a straight return, get in good set position, where he's stepping in, lifting us up, and kicking our feet out. So I've got to fight that lift. As soon as he starts to lift, I'm going to hunt with my foot right behind his knee. It doesn't matter which one you do it. So as soon as I feel that lock coming up, I'm going to step back with my foot. I'm trying not to let him lift me in the air at all. Lift. If I can stay on the mat, great. If I get him up a little bit, that's okay. As soon as I put him down, he's right back set position. So we'll move around a little bit. Lift, hook, back set. Lift, hook, back set. Any questions? What are elbows doing the whole time? Go. this position through everything he does, he's going to freeze after about 10 seconds. So I'm going to defend the return. When he freezes, we're going to go with our hip heist technique. So from this position, I don't start doing all this. I'm going to give up my wrists. I'm going to use my power of my hips to break his lock. That's what's going to get him broken. My hips, not my hands. So from this position, when he freezes, I'm going to go from my set defensive position on my feet to sitting in a chair. Everybody kind of gets that analogy, right? My back starts to go straight. I'm going to run my feet out 45-degree angle. So for you guys that hadn't had that math yet, if you make an L with your arms, it's in the middle of it. Right in the middle of that L. I'm going to run my feet out to that angle. Very important to create the angle and not run straight. Now, you guys that know our system, which way do we hip heist? Towards the head or away?
Away.
Away from the head. So I go to my chair position, I start running my hips out 45 degrees. Now, once I get them extended, watch what my hips do. They go from being low to the mat to extending out. And then I'm running behind to try and get my reversal. This guy better be a good partner, not give up that reversal, hustle with me. It's the power of my hips plus me being down on the mat that's going to break his lock. What does he have to do when I get that low?
Let go.
He's got to let go or he's locking hands. So 10 seconds, defend, hook, defend all that. When he freezes, go to my chair. Which way do I go? 45 degrees? Away from the head. Start running those feet out. Pop as I get low. Pop those hips. Start running around behind. Any questions? I'm not on my back. When my butt touches, yeah, as soon as my butt hits the mat, I'm extending my hips out. Yep. I'm gonna run around behind him until he's facing me or I get the reversal, yes. Any more questions? Go! We're just kind of getting halfway out there and the top guy's getting uncomfortable and just letting him go and letting him rotate his hips. Guys, I'm telling you, come here. It's this that gets me away. Running my feet out and getting to my hip slide position. That's what gets me away. Now I've got the power to pop and he's got to let go of his lock. He's got to release it. So the pop's going to break it, plus me being on the mat. He's got to let his hands go. Then my head pressure goes back in, and I'm running around behind him. I'm sorry, I can't run faster. Any questions? Top guy, don't let him get away. Go! Maybe some back points out of it. Kilgore switch time. I'll post it up on the YouTube channel and Facebook and Twitter. There's back in like 1972 NCAA. It's a guy named Grace Simons. It's the nastiest Kilgore switch elevator I've ever seen. I'll put it up tonight. It's really good. So this is when the guy drives into you. You have to have pressure to hit this, but we're going to do it without pressure first to kind of get the motion down. I want you to think about throwing a headlock. So just give me a head. Just imagine yourself having this headlock and being able to throw it. I actually picked this up from the Bettendorf coach when I did a camp out in Iowa. It really explains the motion really well. I'm throwing a headlock, but I'm just going to do it with wrist control. Back motion. Now this is the drill we have to practice. I'm just going to lift my foot up right outside of his knee. I'm not trying to really reach back and hook it yet. It'll hook as I headlock. I'm just going to get the wrist, lift my foot up, headlock. Now, watch my right foot. It's not going to touch the mat the whole time. Stays up, headlock, headlock, headlock. And it's going to trip the guy as he falls down. Wrist control. Lift my foot up, headlock. Tripping that guy as he falls. Any questions? You do it nice and easy right there. Yes?
When you get him down to the ground, are you grabbing the leg?
We'll get to that in a minute. We just got to practice the block with our foot and the headlock motion.
Can I see it one more time?
Sure. You need to see it? Block with my foot. Bring it right up outside his knee. Headlock. Keep your foot up the whole time. Questions? Yes?
Are you putting hip pressure in?
A little bit. I'm not pushing back in hard because when we really do the drill, he's going to be running as hard for it.
Do you want him to be pushing it?
Not yet.
Which foot do you keep up with?
The one I'm blocking with, it never touches the mat. The same side I have wrist control on. Does that help? Same side I have wrist control on. Oh, I've done it 3 times. That's enough. Go! Block, Headlock motion as we fall, there's the switch. You can hold here, Peterson, if you want to. I used to go here, I'm pretty good in this position. Or refs don't like to give this control anymore because of scrambling. You can just keep taking your switch on over, get your reversal. Great time to turn, great time to cradle. Still no forward pressure yet. Just getting our hands to work. Wrist, block, ball, switch. Not yet. To my turn. We got it? Yes. Absolutely. Finish with the turn. Go! Fight the position. Let's go 5 seconds. Fight position. When you get set, try and return him. Hold it. After about 5 seconds, here comes the drive out of bounds. Right, you need to go for a switch. Just go one time. Here, switch your foot up higher next time. Then that return. Here comes the drive out of bounds. And right into the switch. Any questions? Nope. You want to see it again? I did too. Do it one more time. Neither one of them did it right yet. Part of it, you guys aren't posting on the back side. So as this guy's driving, and I make the decision that I'm going to block and turn into him, as I'm going down, my head stays up. If he locks his hands and continues to try to roll me through, and I just turn into a corpse, he's going to roll me through. I've got to post and keep my head up. If I dive my head under, like kind of like I'm hitting a dive roll and scrambling, then I'm going to get this load. See how he's loading me up on his hips as I'm diving under? My head staying up in this little whip action that we're doing. My head staying up here is what keeps this position so I can finish. And you karate chop Jay and the gonads. Alright? So make sure our head's staying up as we're moving back down to the mat. Don't dive under and don't just turn into a corpse and just roll to his legs. Make sure your head stays up, you're rigid there. About another minute. Go! It's going to end us up back where we've been getting to, defending that mat return. So the first thing we're going to do is inside's always going to rotate up. Basically, it's kind of like, I kind of think of it like a transformer or a GoBot. So I'm going to rotate inside, leg's going to go straight. So I'm rotating inside, legs going straight, my elbow's coming back to my hip. My elbow's coming back to my hip. So it doesn't matter what this guy does on top. If he jams me forward and I rotate up, I get to my tripod. If he chops my arm and I rotate up, I get to my tripod. There's not a lot this guy can do on top to stop my tripod. It's why one of the most used ways to get to your standing position and on a high level right now. So all we're going to do is, this guy's not going to give us a feel yet. We're just going to rotate inside, elbow comes to my hip, and my leg goes straight. Okay? Now, this hand's going to drop straight down to the mat. Notice, my backside leg rotated out. Now, all it's going to do is rotate up straight, and I'm putting both my hands on the mat. And we're going to stop right there. When you get here, both your legs should be straight, and all your weight should be on your heels. If all your weight's way out here on your hands and your toes, you're in bad position. And then we'll work on getting to our stand-up from there. So I'm in referee's position. Inside leg rotates up. So it goes out and rotates straight. Elbow comes back to my hip. Not down here in my crotch, back to my hip. Hand outside my elbow, solid fundamentals. Hand drops straight down to the mat. Backside legs rotated out. It rotates straight. Adjust my hands, push weight back to my heels. We're not going to walk and stand up yet. Any questions? That's all we're doing. Inside leg, outside leg. Weight on my heels, very little weight should be on my hands. Questions? Anybody need to see it again? One more time. Referee's position. Boom, jam back. Notice how I'm kind of throwing Jay off of him. Hand drops, other leg rotates straight. Adjust my hands, weight on my heels, heads up. My head never gets near my knee and gets cradled. Go! So, pretty much what we're doing, and Jay was on top of me, so a lot of guys didn't see it, and I apologize. We're rotating this leg out. Rotating this leg out, boom, and then jamming my elbow back into it. And I'm dropping my hand, rotating this leg out, walking back. Now, we don't want weight on our hands. What's priority of the top guy? Put weight on our hands, right? So it's one of those, I gotta want it a little bit more than he does in this situation. So I'm jamming back into it, getting weight off of him. Post, rotate. My hands are in kind of awkward position here, so I adjust my hands and I walk weight back to my heels. Now, partner, I want you to put a little weight on and give him a little bit of a fight. Not a ton of fight, but a little bit of fight. Once we get weight back on our heels right here, we're just gonna come to the wrist first. Okay? If I pick both hands up, what can he do? He can lock hands. Okay? He can do a lot of things, but one thing he can do when I do this is lock hands. All right? So I come back here first, start working the grip, and then I'll bring another hand to it, and then we'll start working, and then we can get back to all these positions we've been to, blocking the mat return. So partner's going to get on top. Now my initial rotation, my legs rotating out, and then I'm jamming back inside, kind of like a reverse smash. For some of you guys are familiar with our Granby system. Now he's off of me for a split second, but the minute I post and rotate up, he's going to be back on with that pressure. So it's a little bit of a fight. I don't drop my head. Okay, my chin stays up, and it's a little bit of a fight to get weight back on my heels. We're going to come here and attack this hand. All right? He still can't lock hands. I'm in good shape here. Then my elbow comes inside, and we can start working our escape from our feet. So, inside. As soon as this hand poses, my partner starts giving me forward pressure. Here, fight, fight, fight. Chin up. Hand, elbow back, and I'm in a good position to wrestle here. Okay? Controlling those hands. Any questions?
Do you want us cutting it once we get to the feet?
Don't worry about cutting so much here. I just want you to focus on pressure and back, weight on our heels, because it might be one of those things where I cut, I get a good stand up, really got pressure, and I gotta drop my butt a little bit. See, I kind of dropped my butt and got up under him. Now I can start attacking here. Start getting to a familiar position where I can cut. He might lock hands once my other hand comes up, and we'll just wrestle from that position. The key is getting weight off your what? Hands. And getting weight on your what? Heels. Any other questions? No. Go! Most of like the mentality problems you have in your wrestling. Because neutral, you can kind of get by in practice not putting forth 100% effort from neutral, right? So you can kind of block him out, keep good head position, take a few attacks here or there. But man, if you don't go attack bottom, it starts to be not fun really fast, doesn't it? Because you've got that guy just putting all his weight and grinding on you. So what you've got to realize, guys, and what I want you to think about, is what was your effort like during that top-bottom go where you had to score 12 points? And you've got to realize that that applies for all of your wrestling. If you're scared to pull the trigger because you might get turned on bottom, it's going to be the same thing on your feet. It's going to be the same thing on top. You're going to wrestle a little bit tight. If you get broken down to your belly and man, you just don't want to base up again. When you're in on that leg, man, and you got to finish hard, you're not going to do it. So I think bottom really exposes a lot of the mentality problems that you got to fix in your wrestling. So when you're riding home tonight, or if it's a short ride when you're sitting in your room, I want you to write some things down about what you were feeling when you were on bottom that time. Write some of those things down. Did I attack it and do well the whole time? Then your mentality's probably where it needs to be. We can focus on technique. But if you felt yourself just not wanting to base back up, or you were scared to pull the trigger on some leg defense because you're afraid you might get power halved, we've got to work on those things. And it's just like technique. We can work on it. It's a whole different level of wrestling we've been talking to you guys about. It's not technique. Caden, you're not going to get better on bottom by learning more technique. That's not what it is. You know all the technique in the world. You know great leg defense. You got great Granby stuff. Your explosive stand-up's good. Your quad bot stand-up's awesome. You can do everything great, but you struggle on bottom, right? So it's up here that we've got to fix. It's a mentality thing. We can't just keep thinking it's technique. It's not. It's your confidence. And it's that place where you feel like you can lose a match right now. If I wrestle on top and on my feet, you can wrestle with anybody in the country, so I'm just not going to get turned on bottom. And if I don't get turned, that's okay. And that's not the mentality we kind of have, because that's going to creep over to the other things. That'll creep over to your neutral, and man, I'll be afraid to pull the trigger in those big matches, or man, I'm going to be afraid to really pull and go after my crab later on. It spreads through everything. And I think it's easier to fix than technique, because you can fix it like that. You just got to put your hands on how to fix it. We're going to start giving you some strategies on how you can make a mentality change, how your confidence can be different, how your intensity in those positions can change a little bit. We started putting some of those drills in now, right? Where the goal, the focus isn't to score takedowns, it's just to wrestle hard. Don't let coach tag you and tell you you got to sit on the wall or you're stalling on bottom. Those drills we done, that's part of it. And then sitting and talking with some fans and figure out why you're doing it, that's a big that other stuff too. And guys, the most important thing I can tell you that you need to start doing is if you're struggling in position, watch yourself do it well. I was talking with the UTC coach about it. He's got a guy he's doing that with and it's paying off big dividends. If you're struggling somewhere, watch yourself do it well. And if you can't do it well, go find the best guys you can find on bottom and watch them wrestle. And just watch them wrestle and watch them wrestle. Because it'll make an imprint in your brain on what I need to do on bottom to get away from people. And you'll start doing it. That's all practice really is. You're creating a picture in your brain that you duplicate when you wrestle. You can do that by watching technique. To me, watching technique and watching wrestling is probably the thing that's least utilized as an athlete. For some reason, you're not supposed to watch other wrestlers, or you're not supposed to watch yourself wrestle, and I don't get it. And I use that Tom Brady analogy. How many cover 2 defenses has that dude seen in his life? Probably a million. And what does he do all day, every day? Watch defensive film over and over and over again. You got to keep studying. So if you're struggling in a position, get on YouTube. There's a wealth of knowledge. CMP Wrestling Media is ours. We put a lot of stuff up there, and all you got to do is just go Google whatever you're looking for. It'll pop up on YouTube, and you'll have hours and hours to find it. While I'm talking about video, guys, we're putting up practices. We're filming, like you see Coach Fretwell and Coach McCrary filming the technique when we're teaching. We put that stuff up on YouTube. You guys need to be watching it. At least every practice you need to watch it to refresh your memory on what was taught there. And also, if you miss a practice, you stay caught up. And it's usually like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Because it's just a technique and you go through, and I want you guys to start commenting down below. And I know you'll do it. You'll do anything we ask you to do. Go start putting comments down there, Coach Roper, Coach Fretwell, Coach Cabral, Coach McCray. I didn't really understand this, Coach Bedard. I didn't really get this position. We'll get right back to you. We'll say, well, this is where we want to go with it. The learning continues to go at home, because you're only here, what, 3 days a week, 4 days a week for some of you guys? There's a lot of extra time we can continue to get better at watching film and studying and asking questions about it. It's going to be one of the big things we push. It's good practice tonight. The technique was spot on. Intensity was pretty good. Really think about what your mentality was on bottom. We'll start fixing those things moving forward.
I just want to kind of build on what Coach Roper said. I read an article this week, and it's kind of been floating around a little bit on Forbes, and it talks about why wrestlers make the best employers. And they talk a little bit about just the work ethic the wrestlers have. But I guess the one key aspect that I picked up on the article, really what separates wrestlers from all other athletes, it talked about just really the mentality that we have off the mat. You carry that lifestyle with you, not just when you're in the practice room, but when you're outside these walls as well. You got to maintain your weight. And kind of building on what Coach Roper said, you can take that mentality, you can go to the web page, you can go to the YouTube page, and you can just pick on all this incredible technique. And I really, really hope you guys utilize that. Utilize that mindset of being a wrestler off the mat. Continue to learn, continue to get better. Coach?
Let's get in on a prayer and get out of here.